enjoyed a terrific weekend despite really bad loss by Rutgers at Ohio State. 80 to 66. We don't get revenge over a bad loss on a horrendous call by the referee out of bounds. And we still struggle in Columbus. And it's one of those places where we tend not to win. Was it Minnesota or Purdue? Both of those places where it took us forever to get a win on the road. In those places, nonetheless, we lose 80 to 66. I'm not surprised. Kind of saw it coming, and I'm not happy to report or to say that this season is kind of fleshing out how I thought it would be, and I'm just going to get right to it and be that guy and say that for all the hype and exposure and excitement and people leaving football after we lost 4 in a row, jumping to focus on basketball because that's where they thought we would do better. I knew it was problematic to begin with. Done a bunch of videos on what potentially how the season would roll out. Did one about a month ago. If you want to check that in my feed. Having a top rated recruiting class, great, gets us publicity, gets a light shine on us. We have the number 2 guy, the number 5 guy. And as I've said a bunch of times, publicity and marketing and hype and excitement doesn't replace execution on the court. Doesn't matter how well you recruit, it matters how well you execute. And quite frankly, both the football and basketball classes with better recruiting have failed to live up to expectations executing on the court and on the field. And the problems that I saw with basketball, even before the season started, and what pisses me off is that the things that I suspected might happen are coming true. And you know things make you angry when you know what's going to happen, and it does. And as I've gone through several times before, and right before the start of the season, I think I did a video end of October regarding Rutgers basketball prospects. Can Coach Peichel, look, we like Coach Peichel, good guy. Like Coach Shiano, good faces of the program, good recruiters, not going to embarrass you on or off the court. They're going to go about their business the right way. Good guys. But we're struggling getting over that hump, even with a top 5 recruiting class. My concerns, would Steve Peichel be able to coach offense and coach offense with guys that could create their own shots and dominate the ball, dominate the game on their own? We've been overperforming with 2- and 3-star guys, gritty guys, lunch pail, blue-collar kind of guys. Yeah, we struggled with 3-point shots and free throw shooting and hitting our shots and going through cold spells where we don't hit a bucket for 8 minutes. But that formula kind of created a core identity for us, but it only got us so far. We knew we were going to have to start playing a modern style college basketball if we were going to succeed. But the pendulum has swung too far the other way. It's no secret our defense stinks. Perimeter defense, although it didn't kill us against Ohio State, and our defense in the paint, which did kill us against Ohio State. I think they had 46 or 48 points in the paint. We had 16 or 18. That cost us. I don't know what the answers are. We don't seem to. Aaron Brightman talked about how we don't have an identity. I just don't think we're integrating all the parts. This is kind of who we are. We get guys that can create. A lot of guys that want to shoot. We substituted, flash and splash and flash for guys that were grinders. We had Caleb McConnell. We had Cliffy, Mawant Mag. These guys were defensive stalwarts. But in the end, does it matter if we lose to Illinois 55-51 or lose to Alabama 95-90? No. Knicks are kind of going through this, even though they have a winning record. They're outscoring everybody, but their defense is horrendous. And then they'll lose to bad teams. Things are out of balance. And it remains to be seen if Coach Peichel could pull together superstars with role players and not having those. I guess Jordan Durkak is one of those Floyd General facilitator, tough it out, energy kind of guys, but we don't have a lot of grit and determination. We don't have those lunch pail jersey blue collar guys that are shutting things down when they have an opportunity to do. Don't want to be that guy that says I told you so, but the warning signs, quite frankly, when you think about it, have been flashing all along. Would Rutgers coaching staff be able to coach this kind of team? And if they could, how would it flesh out? What would it look like? What would it look like? Is it going to be, like these all-star tournaments where it's, all offense and hero ball and not much in the way of defense? It's not working. We're 5-4. You are what your record says you are. And I'm calling my shot to coin Coach Schiano. We absolutely, positively have to sweep this December. We got Penn State at the Rack Tuesday night. Yes, I still call it the Rack. I only go to Jersey Mike's when I want a roast beef sandwich. We got Princeton, Columbia, and who else? I'll check the schedule in a minute, but Seton Hall. Doesn't matter how good or bad those teams are, if they're as good this year, if they're not as good this year as they were last year. We tend to play down to our competition at times. We lose to Kennesaw. Monmouth shoots the lights out on us. We keep waiting, okay, maybe it's a matter, and I'm getting tired of hearing this, they just haven't established cohesion yet. Baloney. They're fundamentally bad. They're not playing team basketball. They're not playing consistent basketball. Quite frankly, they're kind of soft. Okay, Ohio State. Nip and tuck in the first half. They pull away late. What is it, 39-31 at halftime? They shot 57% in the first half. We shot like 36%. Overall, Ohio State shot 55% from 2-point range for the game, which is pretty good. 46 point in the paint. We know where our weakness is. And now Bowie, who had 10 points, when he's like your second or third leading scorer, that's a problem. He was 4 for 5 from the field. Good on him. What we need you to do is to clog up that lane like a run stopper, a run stuffer in the NFL, and don't let anybody in there. And if they do come in there, you erase that. You just erase that shit. We're just getting killed in the paint. Dylan and Ace were the leading scorers, but there's nothing to write home about. Dylan 6 of 13, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Remember the early bugaboo he had with foul shooting, and everybody was worried about that. He's been moneyed since that first game against Wagner. He's 3 for 3. Last night hitting all his free throws, I think for the second or third game in a row. Ace, not a good night. He needs to step it up a little. 6 of 16, 12 points, 7 rebounds and assists. HUMBUG, 10 points, 4 for 5 from the field. Thurkak, 8 points, 3 rebounds, no assists. The bench, a little better last night, but we're not getting the rotation and the depth and the production out of the bench now for like 4 games in a row. 16 points. Lathan Somerville had 8 of them. 5 rebounds. Tyson Acuff, I don't know if he's injured or not injured, playing 50%, 70%, 80%, I don't know. But he's not as productive as we would have hoped. 5 points. Zach Martini. Past several games. Quiet, 3 points. Jeremiah Williams, 2 points after having a 20-point game. 3-pointers, we were 36%, which isn't terrible. Last year, we would have done cartwheels hitting 36%. Ohio State, who loved to rain down threes, which was something I was concerned about. They only shoot about 36%, but most of those misses were in 2 or 3 games where they were just really bad. I felt if they hit 40%, we lose. Turns out they only hit 33%. We still lost because they hit 55% of their 2-pointers. Free throws we're getting better at, so at least we're making progress there. We hit 92% of our free throws. Ohio State only 76%. Of course, we were out-rebounded by 5, 32 to 27. Only 27 rebounds, and Ohio State was just like defensive rebounds all day because we weren't hitting shots. Here's what killed us, in addition to the points in the paint and, perimeter defense was so-so. Ohio State had 22 points off turnovers. That was the game. You're not going to win that way. So, not surprised at this Ohio State loss. They came off 2 losses in a row and a really bad loss to Maryland. And once the calendar flips to 2025 and we hit Big Ten season, this is a problem. This could potentially get ugly fast. So Thursday, January 2nd starts off with Indiana. Then we have number 11, Wisconsin. Number 8, Purdue. UCLA, Nebraska, Penn State, Michigan State playing great ball. Northwestern playing well. Michigan playing well. Illinois. All these teams are playing really well and have good records. And we're going to have to pray to go 500 in January. We go less than 500 in January, and we enter January, say 8-5, the season's over. Now is the time to start her on. Penn State's playing well. I think they're 8-1. Let's see what we got here with Penn State. Yep, Penn State's 8-1 right now. They're 4th in the Big Ten. They're playing well offensively and defensively. I don't know what to say about basketball. The other big picture, 30,000-foot view thing that I must be one of the few people who are thinking about this. Everybody's so excited about Ace and Dylan. Okay, I felt that whenever people like expecting us to get to an Elite 8, like some of the people that were predicting a 10-2 or 12-0 year in football, my thought was if we get to the tournament, we've had, one tournament bid, a play-in game in 6 years? If we got to the tournament, despite having this recruiting class, that would be a big step forward. Getting to the round of 32 would be a very big step forward. And if you got to the Sweet 16, okay, now we're talking. But even if you did that, and Ace or Dylan are gone after the year, what are we left with? You're left with a game like Ohio State where they didn't play great, didn't score a lot, and the other guys didn't do much either. So this upcoming December is not just about for the short term of this season and this year. It's about our future. We don't sweep December and we go into the Big Ten schedule in January and we lay an egg, it's over. Dylan and Ace most likely are going to be gone, and then what are we left with? I guess maybe back to recruiting gritty 3-star lunch pail blue collar kind of players, because taking that next step is beyond this, and it's frustrating because other teams do it. Houston, we were them a few years ago in a tournament. We should have won that game. Or was it Baylor? I think it was Houston. Anyway, this is an important month, and it's more important than people may think. Don't wait for that magic moment to happen where you think the cohesion is just going to come out of nowhere. Steve Pikiell is going to have to perform the coaching job of his life to get this team to play disciplined and balanced. We'll see where this goes. They can start off well by running Penn State out of the rack on Tuesday night. And we're going bowling, and we're going bowling to everybody. This was no surprise. Fair amount of disappointing, including myself. I'd much rather would have gone to Charlotte. Obviously, it's closer. Charlotte, kind of a cool city. I haven't been there in several years, but it's becoming more of a cosmopolitan destination spot that people are moving to. So I wanted to check out the city and have a reasonable commute to a bowl game. That wasn't going to happen. Once you saw that Minnesota and Virginia Tech, two teams who we played both of them, and we beat both of them. There was no chance for us to go to Charlotte. A lot of people are disappointed. Having to commute day after Christmas out to Phoenix, I'm sure there's a fair amount of New York, New Jersey people that are living in the Phoenix area that might take that in. But we faced Kansas State, 8-4 Kansas State team. The last time we played them was in the 2006, even though the Rate Bowl was the old Insight Bowl, and we lost to Arizona State in that game in 2005. We beat Kansas State the next year in the Texas Bowl. We were 10-2, and I think Kansas State was 8-4 then too, if I remember. Maybe they were 7-5. I don't remember. Big day for Ray Rice. He was the MVP. He had like 170, 175 yards rushing. The offense and defense were clicking. We must have had 450, 460 yards of offense. Defense was really good too. I think they gave up less than 200 yards. This game is going to be a good matchup. These are kind of two teams that are pretty even. Even in regards to how they played throughout the season, you know, losing the good teams, maybe losing some games they shouldn't have lost. And I see them very similarly. They're a little better version than Michigan State. And I'll get to that why in a second. Some wins for Kansas State. Tulane, who played, I think they played Army in conference championship and lost. They lost badly to BYU, who's going to be in the college, they've been top 10 all year, or top 20 all year at least. They lost 38-9 to BYU. They beat Colorado 31-28 earlier in the season, so that's a pretty good win for them. They beat Kansas by 2 points. At some point, I think Kansas might have been 3-0 and 4-0 in rank, but they're not anymore. They lost to Houston, which is their bad loss. Houston's a 4-8 team that they lost to, but they beat Arizona State. They beat Cincinnati easily and then lost to number 17 or 18 Iowa State. They remind me of Michigan State because they want to run it. They also have the ability to pass it, but they're not real efficient in the passing game. They're kind of middle of the pack on offense. Defensively, though, is a different story. But like Michigan State, really good against the rush. They're really good against the run. They're probably top 30 and 35 in run defense like Michigan State was, but they're not good in the passing game. So Athan and Kirk Shiraka are going to have to be on their toes and have a good game and be able to move down the ball down the field in the passing game. Because in the passing game, Kansas State's only ranked like in the 70s somewhere. So like Michigan State, Um, if he can move the sticks on the ground, Kyle's probably going to play. He's not the kind of guy that's going to sit out. I think, like last year against Miami, we'll probably have most of our guys. Kansas State, I'm not so sure. Either way, they don't have guys, go out there and run the ball down their throat. And Kyle move the sticks through the air. And if they don't have a lot of guys missing, Miami was a really talented team last year, despite would they have 3 or 4 starters out for that game. Just go out there and beat them. Unfortunately, it's going to be in Phoenix and not the cold and the wind and the snow. But go out there and win. Be 8-5. It's progress. But if we lose this game, and it's yet another 7-6 season, I don't see where the excitement is, despite having a top 28 to 30 recruiting class in football for 2025. We need to start making steps and leaps and bounds. Baby steps is fine, but we need to start taking bigger steps and making the bigger leaps. So I'm not sure how many people are going to go out to Phoenix. I know me and my buddies are not. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to the Pinstripe Bowl this year for Nebraska versus Boston College. That could be interesting. Nonetheless, the excitement coming for Monday is the transfer portal day. It's kind of exciting. Last year was a lot of fun. But on the other hand, it was kind of disappointing in a way, because you see all these guys that are available and you're imagining and pitching in your head, hey, can Rutgers go after this guy? Remember last year it was all about the quarterback. And we're trying to figure out, which quarterback could Rutgers pilfer? But Rutgers being Rutgers and Schiano being Schiano, there's not going to be a lot of exciting news the first couple of days. There's just not. I think they're going to be, like they usually are, fussy and picky about who they pick, who they can afford to pick, and looking for under-the-radar guys, maybe some FCS guys. Yeah, Daimir was great. I mean, you can find guys. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think we also need to take the next step in who we find in the portal and how we go about our business, getting guys from other Big Ten. There's going to be, I have a feeling that the movement's going to be crazy tomorrow. What was it last year? Like 800 guys or 600 guys on the first day? It was something nuts. Nonetheless, a lot of us are going to be glued to X tomorrow, watching for who's entering the portal. Hopefully, there's not a lot of Rutgers guys. We do a pretty good job with retainment that way. Hopefully, there's no surprises. And hopefully we heal up and get well. And most of our guys play for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Everybody enjoy your week. Hopefully we'll have good news to report portal-wise. And against Penn State at the Rack on Tuesday. Everybody have a great week. And happy holidays. We'll see you the next time.